welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these little bunnies with a kit I'm currently selling. In our kit we have some Icelandic wool roving, and that is the coat part. We have a little bit of gray for this guy, a little bit of chocolate for this guy, and some black for the details, the mouth and the eyes. And we have a big old lump of core wool, which is where we will begin. Also in your kit, you'll see a little felting surface. I started with something like this when I began needle felting, and then I have progressed to making my own rice-filled burlap bag felting surface, because I make a lot bigger pieces now and I just like the larger surface to work on. This is fine for these little things, and especially just starting out. So you can find out if you actually like needle felting and how advanced you want to become, or you may start it out and realize it might be something you just want to pick up once in a while, and you probably don't want to go all out with a lot of elaborate additions to your felting area like so. But I warn you, felting is very addictive. It's extremely cathartic, therapeutic. I love it. So this is just to keep your needle tips protected, keep them from getting broken in the package. You can toss it. It's just wool. You can use it as a tail to add on to your bunny. And I have included 2 needles for you to get started. All right. First, we're gonna start with the core wool, and you just want to kind of spread it out, see what you're working with. Okay. So you just begin to separate the wool about a 6-inch piece will do, 6 to 8 inch. See, like I have one that's smaller, one that's bigger. It's really up to you how big you want your rabbit to be. You can use the whole thing if you want. I recommend a smaller chunk to start with, but not too small, because you want room to work and room to make mistakes. And the great thing about wool is that it's very forgiving and you can undo your mistakes very easily. All right, we're going to take this, fold it in half, fold it over, turn it this way if it helps. And have you ever rolled up a sleeping bag? We're going to kind of do something like that. So we start pinching and rolling. I use a needle felting pen. This is Clover. You can buy it on Amazon. Whatever, there's different retailers that offer them as well. I like mine with 2 needles because I work with a lot of wire armatures, and this helps me to work around the wire. So after you do your first roll, come along and start. You can also just do this with 1 needle like you have in your kit, and just start felting it down. See how it sticks? You're just going to roll it again. Do the same thing. Start kind of felting in the ends, and as you roll, you want to have it sort of tapered. So what you're going for is sort of a, see, you pinch more on this end and let this become bigger. So you have the bunny butt developing here, right? So you just kind of keep going with the roll and pinch. I'm going to use my pin just so I can, my pin tool, so I can go faster for the tutorial. I'm just going to kind of felt in the end. I'm not felting this end. I will show you why in a moment. And then I'm going to kind of watch your fingers. Going to kind of roll up and felt through, felt in, and felt all around. So I'm kind of grabbing and pushing in. You can also felt this more firmly as you go. To really start seeing your shape develop. You want to leave this loose. We need room to sculpt and work with the wool a little to make a head shape here. So leave about an inch unfelted on this end for now. And it'll also make it easier to form the tapered shape. The tapered potato. Rabbit body. So I'm just kind of grabbing it, pulling it up, felting it, missing my fingers. They also make finger gloves if you're interested. They're kind of a fake leather. Have those on Amazon. See, it's kind of staying. You can leave it still soft, with room to felt it firmer. You can leave it felted soft still, because once we put the outer coat, we're really gonna felt it in, and it'll be harder to add that outer coat whenever this is like really firm. So just leave this felted soft. Just firm enough to make your shape, soft enough to add on wool. So there you sort of have a potato. Now, I'm gonna draw a line for the head. So I'm gonna start felting, and I roll it felt towards the neck. We're gonna make a neck now. So you felt down in your mind, keeping a line here for the head. Just a body shape you're going for like this, okay? Constantly turning so that you get a nice evenly shaped body. So it's not real flat on one side. So you felt just as much in the same areas as you turn. Okay. Neck line here. I'm just rolling and stabbing. Another side note, another thing you can do is with both needles, you can actually hold them. I've seen some people tape them together right up here, and you hold them and you can felt side by side like that to kind of go faster. You brace it with this finger. If you don't have a pen tool yet. Just helps you go faster. Turning, trying to keep the same line here. All right, so softly and just kind of stab around. The key is to keep turning it, okay? And see what kind of wool you have on this leftover for the face, for the head. It is possible to add on, if you didn't leave yourself enough room to make this all in one piece, you can add wool. Working with wool is very versatile. It's very hard to like mess up to no end where it's just unfixable. That's a very rare occurrence. So you just draft off is what it's called. You draft some off. Start with a little bit. If I don't think that head's going to be big enough, I'm just going to lay it on there. Kind of envelop it like a napkin. And just felt it on. And just do as much as you need for as big a head as you want. You just want to avoid making the head bigger than the body. And you just kind of do like that. I'm peeling mine off because my head is just fine the way it was. I don't want the head to be too big. Okay. So now, I am going to pick a side that I want to be the bottom, this side. It'll just be slightly flatter. And that's just so he doesn't roll around as much as you're felting. So I'm just going to go up and down like I'm coloring and not rolling it this time. Just stay on one side and just felt it a little bit flat. You don't have to go overboard. It's also a guideline as you felt to differentiate between the top and the bottom. So you don't get confused with like, oh, where was I going to put the eyes? Where did the ears go? So this is the bottom now. This is still really soft. So I'm going to slowly and gently sculpt a face shape. So I want the nose and mouth to be here. I'm going to come to the top and just felt it a little firmer, working towards a cone-ish shape. All right. And leave the top of his head kind of fluffier. Now, you can make 2 indentions for the eyes. You want to have about 1/2 inch between the eyes at the top here. You can measure with a ruler, of course. And I'm just felting in the ocular cavity at this point. And I'm going to look at it from all angles. See, there's a divot here, not on this side. So I'm going to try to match that side. And remember, you can always add wool to help shape it how you want. You can even roll up a couple little pieces for cheeks. So you just kind of roll it up. And you want to do both of them before you felt them on. You want to have both of them there unfelted so that you can compare sizes and make sure you got them about the same size. And then you would just, this wispy is so that you can felt it into your thing, right? So I'm going to felt all of that wispy hangover stuff in. And I'm going to come across the top like I'm sewing and felt along. And then felt some of this in. And then I'm just going to make sure it's attached on the bottom. And I'm going to leave this poofy. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Once again, this is just an option you can do. Today, I don't want cheeks, but I'm just showing you ways that you can make it your own. I'm sticking to the way that I made these two. It's very simple. Not a whole lot added on to these guys. Next, I'm going to add the covering Icelandic outer coat wool. To begin, I'm going to draft off the roving. I'm going to show you how I do it. You want to put it on this part of your hand, just grab it with a couple fingers, and then you grab it firmly back here. And what you're going to be doing is pulling off about the staple length. The staple length means it's actually the length of the wool from where it was cut from the sheep and to the tip. So that's how long the locks of this sheep were. It has since been processed in a mill, cleaned, washed, combed, and put through a machine that turns it into roving. That's all together like this. So it's easier to work with whenever you pull off a staple length piece. Icelandic wool usually has a longer staple for the mature fleeces. It's a little fun fact. All right, I'm gonna do it again, and you can just wrap it on like a blanket. Now on this wool, it does have some little pieces of it's called VM. The fiber artists know the term well. And what it is the sheep get into all kinds of grass, hay, bushes. And this one I noticed just has like these little, it's almost like wood or something. It's like just these little twig pieces, and it's not a big deal. It's clean wool. And sometimes I just leave it in there, or I pick it out. I leave it in there for character. I have grown to love it. It's the nature of wool. It's the nature of using a natural resource for your art. It's just fun. It's part of the romance of working with art supplies from nature, I believe. But yeah, whenever you look for wool, sometimes it'll say little to no VM. And VM just stands for vegetable matter. So it's from their food, it's from their bushes that they push through whenever they're in the pasture. And to me, it's just kind of funny to think about it. It makes it real. I love the smell, the feel, and the look of wool, everything about it. So you're just gonna coloring it on with your needles. You're just belting it all over. And as you go, just be mindful of the shape of your bunny. You want to keep the same shape. Therefore, you don't want to felt on one side longer than you felt on another side. So, just like we made this shape to begin with, we're gonna roll it as we felt. You just want all this wispy stuff felted down. Now you can felt it as firmly as you want. So I'm going to pull off just another staple length. And cover the booty. So I'm just going to hold it there, and I'm just going to wrap So this will cover, just kind of leaving a little tail-sized space uncovered there. I'm going to show you, just like the ball of wool that's included that has your needles protected, you can steal that for your tail. You can stick that on right there, or I can show you how to make one. Use your core wool. It just adds just a slight bit of contrast with the texture and the color of the outer coat, and you just roll it like into a little snowball. So you just roll it, you can fold it as you roll it. Leave a little bit of this so you can felt it on. So hold it down with one finger, missing your finger with your needles, go around and just get enough anchored on so that you can pull your finger off soon. So you just anchor on that wispy part, and then you come from the top and felt that in. Now go around the entire radius of the tail. You can make it as fluffy or as small as you want. And now you have a little tail. You can also lower it so it's more like a rabbit. I put it kind of high. It doesn't matter. We're just doing this for fun. We're not putting this in an art show. We're learning how to felt. So just go easy on yourself. And you have enough wool in your kit. If you get frustrated with it, you can throw it aside and start over if you really want. But I assure you, you can undo a lot of the mistakes or cover up your mistakes if you want. If you don't like how this looks, you can actually grab hold of it and pull it off. You can rip it off before it gets felted down real good if you want, so that you can start over. We're gonna make, let's go ahead and put some Icelandic on the face. Now, you can also tear this into a smaller staple, or it might be easier is to cut it in half and then stack it on top of itself like this. Now, pull it apart and stack it again, pull it apart and stack it again, so that you don't have like any extreme ends showing like real blunt, and it just kind of blends it together. Anyway, start here where you ended with the top coat, and then begin to felt on. Be mindful of your fingers. Keep them things out of the way. Okay. Now we can start rolling and felting again. And the reason I cut it, made it shorter, is because we're dealing with a smaller area with the face. So it just makes it a little easier and keeps you from getting overwhelmed with all this length of wool to felt on. And it just helps you have an easier go at it. Keep felting in your eye holes so that you don't lose them. And don't worry, that is our next step. I'm gonna make some eyeballs. Okay. I'm gonna make one more, cut in half, boom, stack it, blend it, just pull it apart and restack. Pull it, restack, pull it, restack, pull it, restack. Okay. I probably only need half of this. So he needs this part covered. I love the crunching sound of the wool and the needles. It has become an instant relaxation technique for me. When I hear it and I'm just like stabbing along, it helps me escape from the day's stress, whatever's on my mind, whatever is going on. I just grab some wool and stab away. I lost my eyes, right? So just feel them. Oh, I also remember I flattened one side, so now I know which way's up. So I found my eyes. I'm going to reestablish. Okay. On these guys, I made black eyes. So I just pulled off a little bit of black. You want 2 even amounts for your eyes. So I'm just going to draft this in complete half. And I'm going to fold it. And then I'm going to fold it and roll it. And then once I have it like this, I'm going to roll it again. And then I'm going to fold it. And as I hold it like that, I see it's firm. And it has this wispy. So I'm going to, holding the firm part, lay it into my ocular cavity. 1 single needle is best for this. And just like the tail, I'm going to go around the bottom, felting in all of the wisp, so that I can hurry up and get my finger out of the way. Gonna felt in a little at the top. Okay, it's staying there, so I'm just gonna come around the top. Now, come right through the center. You have to visualize all the parts that are touching this wool, right? So you want it all to be attached and not to be easily plucked out. So we want to felt the entire radius. I'm coming through the black, going all the way into the white. And you can see some of this overhang. That all needs to be smooth, so that it's nicely felted in and it's not going to just come out. If your wild little niece comes over and starts playing with your bunny, they're not going to be able to pull the eyes out right away. Another side note, while I work on this other eye, dogs love the smell of wool. They love the feel of it in their mouth. They will sniff out your creatures and try to tear them up. I have repaired a lot of things that I've sold at different venues and stuff that I've done vendor events at, and people call me up or email me or do you do repairs? My puppy found my bird that you made me and it's in shambles, it's in shreds. And I actually fixed it. I don't like to charge. I don't know. That's just my own MO. But anyway, I have heard a lot of sad stories. And I've seen in a lot of the fiber art community groups where somebody had been working on their piece for a long time. And their dog decided to jump up on the desk and get it, tear it to shreds. So something to be mindful of. The puppies love to chew these up. I had a lab for many years, and she was actually scared of them. And she wanted nothing to do with them. So I never experienced the heartbreak. I have secondhand. I have experienced the secondhand. I realized that I got a little ahead of myself, so this is a perfect teaching moment. I didn't show you how to add the color on, which you're supposed to do before you put the eyes. So I'll show you how forgiving wool is. Remember how well we felted it in there? Well, I'm going to show you that you can tear it out. Some people use seam rippers as well, but see how well that's felted in there? Oh yeah, it looks like I'm really messing it up, right? Totally fixable. We're going to rip that guy's eye out and re-indent. This is how forgiving wool is. Boom. So, teaching moment. All right, we're gonna get the eye holes back, and we have this gray, but I'm gonna use brown just for the camera, for the visibility. I'm gonna choose the chocolate, and chocolate's always the best choice anyway. All right, we just want a thin little patch. Small enough to not overwhelm the face, but kind of just cover, just have enough to be around the edges of the eye. And we're gonna felt that all down. I personally like how it gets thinner to the edges. I feel like it has a more natural look that way. And then you can put your eye back in. I can put my eye back in. Don't do what I did. Both sides, obviously. You want them to look as similar as possible. Evenly proportioned on both sides. So just keep looking and comparing. Mine isn't perfect, but that's okay. You get it as perfect as you want. To highlight the eye outline, I did use a little white to go around the black. If you like that look, go for it. If not, keep it like this. It's fine too. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just pull off a little bit of the Icelandic, and I just get a really skinny little wispy piece, and then I'm gonna roll it like this, and I'm gonna use it kind of like a pencil line. We're gonna put on some eyeliner. So I'm just gonna kind of hang it off like that. And outline. It's better to start with too much, because you can always pull off the excess. So that I can just hold it down with my thumb and pull off that extra. All right. The eyes need a little spark, a little twinkle. So I'm getting the tiniest little piece. If you think that's small enough, start to roll it up and then maybe pull off just a little bit more. Because you don't want the little twinkle to be too overwhelming. So you only want a piece about that big, and just tap it in the right side of the pupil. On both eyes. So we're gonna do one more eyeliner. And every time I make a bunny, they vary. They look different. So this one's eyes are a lot bigger than the other two. Because I like using the bigger details when I'm doing tutorials, so it's easier for you to see. But I am also really liking how the bigger eyes look. It makes it just a little bit more dramatically cute. So felt all around. Don't forget your eye twinkle. Tiny little piece. Roll it up. And if it's bigger than the other one, you can improvise and just stab it, more of it into the eye. See, this one's a little bigger, so I'm just gonna keep stabbing it in until they're about the same size. All right, you can do the same thing with the mouth if you want, or don't do the mouth at all. It's totally up to you and how you want your bunny to look. Because you might think that this just looks like he's been eating chocolate, and bunnies shouldn't eat chocolate, so then don't do this part. You can just go straight to the mouth lines without the brown patch if you so choose. Because it is your project, and you should make it yours in every way. We're going to grab just a little pinch of black, just like we did the eyeliner. We're going to do a skinny little strand, drafting it out, skinny, 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 like this. I'm just kind of twisting. You don't want to do it too hard because it'll just start coming apart. So I'm going to start making the nose V here, and that's where I'm starting. So I'm making a slant, and it comes to here, and then I shoot straight down. I can take this part and make it part of the mouth. And now I have my left side done. I grab another little piece of black and roll it skinny. And I'm going to start over here. Come down the same straight line, and some of it got away from me. Wool is just so easy to work with. You just grab it and make it do what you want. Stab it here, stab it in there. And that's gone. So we'll just grab some more, and that's okay. You can curve it up. You can leave it straight across. You can make it like a smile. Or you can skip the mouth altogether and just have a Y shape there too. It's a little crooked, that's okay. He's looking a little bit like a baby seal, so we better make some bunny ears. Find the end of my Icelandic roving here and just draft off the staple length twice over. We're going to stack up some ears. Do another, maybe one more. You don't want to be able to see through it too much. Now, here's the part where a punch tool comes in handy. This is the one that I like to use. It has 8 needles in it. It just comes apart. You can get these on Amazon. It's wooden. I just like the feel of wood. It unscrews. And then you stick your needles in. Clover, the same maker of the pin tool, has this kind. It's nice because it has a guard, and I'm actually selling some as well. It's not this brand exactly, but I'm selling this style at my events. So this comes in handy for this part because it covers a large area quicker. If you just have your 2 needles, use them together like this. And a way to make it go quicker is just go ahead and fold this part. Go ahead and fold it. And felt this whole part. It's totally doable. So you want to leave the bottom wispy because that's where you'll attach the bottom of the ear. This top part, fold over, okay? Fold over. And then you grab some of your chocolate and just pull off just a little bit and make it even in thickness and put it across the top and hold it down so it doesn't go anywhere. And this is the tip of your ear, your chocolate tipped bun. Now, let this be outside. We're gonna fold it over just one more time. Put that down. We're gonna do a triangle fold on both sides like this, so you get a sort of a pointed shape. So we'll start with one side, and where your line is where you felt down so that that stays. And then you get your finger out of the way and come across, felt all of that. Now do the same to this side. Felt down your fold and then felt through here. You want to get this ear nice and felted. You're making basically a piece of felt, like fabric, okay? So you want it to be nice and firm. So for time, I'm just going to use my big tool. But you see that it's doable with the 2 needles. I'm leaving it wispy. I have a little white mark showing, so I'm going to get a little bit of brown and just cover that up. And so one side's not real fluffy frizzy on one side. I'm going to keep flipping it over. Felt this side. Felt this side. And one more time. Now, you pick which side you think is a little more concave or inside ear shaped, whatever. So pinch it here. Now you have all this. Stick it here, right behind the eye, behind the neckline, behind the head. And not to cover your chocolate eye, you just kind of part the hairs and and felt it here, missing your fingers. Get all of that. The wider the area, the more smooth it's gonna look. So it's okay to use all of this wispy just all the way across, just all over. Okay, so now it's gonna look like this. Now what do I do, right? So you just kind of squeeze and see how that's coming together. So come right where your finger is, so be careful. Get your finger out of the way, felt that down. Come over here, felt that down. Now behind the ear, you're gonna come in that fold and felt it. Behind and in the fold. And then come through here again. Keep your fingers out of the way. And now you have an ear. And I'm not going to repeat the whole thing for the other ear on the camera. You'll have a little collection of bunnies before too long. And I just really want to thank you for joining, for watching, and stay tuned for more tutorials. Thank you.